Hey, yo, what's the deal? It's your boy Tag from Pro Wrestling Tag. You know what I mean? As of this recording, it is 11:20 a.m., February 19th, 2026. You know what I mean? There's the first video of the day. And man, you know, the Chris Jericho situation just keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier, right? And Dave Meltzer, Dave Meltzer, right? Look, I don't know who the fuck actually takes Dave Meltzer's word as gospel in today's day and age. I mean, anytime I see a report from Dave Meltzer, I just laugh. I just laugh because it's like the dude basically, you know, like there are so many things that this dude says that's just, I don't know how people actually believe it. I don't know how people actually believe, you know, anything that comes out this dude's mouth, right? But, you know, there was a new report about Chris Jericho's contract being frozen and shit, right? And how, you know, how there might be a lot more time added on into Chris Jericho's deal, right? So, listen to what Dave Meltzer has to say, okay? I'm going to read what Meltzer said in regards to, you know, the contract being frozen. And he, you know, this dude actually tries to give a definition of what the word frozen means, right? Like, we're fucking stupid, right? This is what Dave Meltzer says, okay? I would be 95% sure that's true. True in regards to, you know, Chris Jericho's contract being frozen. I mean, I've heard things along those lines, and the fact that nobody has said that it's not true. Usually when something like that is not true, someone will say it and nobody has. Right? And then he goes on to give a definition of how contracts work, right? He says, and I quote, "The whole idea of freezing a contract, if you're out for a period of time, they can add that time back on. That's standard in wrestling contracts." Right? And then let's go more into what he says about because I'm actually reading it from Ringside News, and this is what Ringside News says in terms of what I'm about to say next. He said, "That detail is key because it directly impacts the timeline fans have been speculating about. If Jericho's deal was indeed frozen, then any expected expiration date may no longer apply, effectively pushing back any potential free agency or WWE return window." Meltzer also touched on how Jericho's long-term outlook may be shifting, especially when it comes down to where he fits best forward. Still, fan reaction can ultimately play a role into whatever he does next. This is what Meltzer says, okay? A couple of years ago, I would have thought he would just stay in AEW until the end. I don't think going back for the Hall of Fame is that big of a deal to him personally. It's probably better for him at this point to be in a place where the fan base is more accepting of him, which actually leads to what I'm about to say in a bit. But let me see if there's anything I could mention too. So basically, what Meltzer's saying, right, is, you know, a WWE return is not in the cards right now, but it's an open opportunity. And the last piece where he said, you know, a place where the fans, you know, which direction that the fans will accept them, right? Which we know is not AEW, right? Now, I gotta say this. Now, this, what I'm about to say is gonna be the most funniest shit, period, okay? So, let's say there is a chance that Chris Jericho goes back to AEW, right? Let's just say there's a chance, right? It would be the funniest shit I have ever seen in my life. And it would be because all the bullshit that the sickos were saying about him on 2025, even a little bit before 2025, right? With the whole learning tree shit, right? Where it was beyond insufferable, you know, it was the worst thing that Chris Jericho ever did in his career, which it was. The learning tree gimmick was the worst. It would be the worst, right? But let's say if he goes back to AEW. That would be funny. Because all the bullshit that the fans said online and social media and such, right? They would slowly delete every fucking thing that's said. Basically proving the point of the hypocrisy of this fucking company. Hands down. But it's still, with the situation, it still does not give you a clear-cut answer as to why Tony Khan decided to freeze Chris Jericho's contract. What was the point of freezing the deal? What's the fucking point? You know what this tells me? Meltzer doesn't know shit. Okay? Meltzer doesn't know a goddamn thing. Because everything they hear, well, I think he will go to a place where the fans are more accepting. Did you see what happened last year, my nigga? Did you see what happened last year? With the whole learning tree gimmick and for the fans telling Chris Jericho to go, to go away and yada, yada, yada. Did you not see that, homie? How the fuck? Man. And the fact that Dave Meltzer, how the fuck does people still quote this motherfucker? How the fuck that, come on, bro. Melts. Melts. That's why I call it melts. Because the motherfucker's brain is melting. You know what I mean? Like, every single fucking report this nigga puts out, right? Every report. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Yo, hold on real quick. Sorry, that was Mama Tag who called me. But, again, look at all the shit that was said. Everything that was fucking said. Right, to Chris Jericho. From the fans, they were like, oh, go away and all this other shit. That would be funny if he comes back with the learning tree gimmick. Again, that'd be hilarious. Like, the April Fool's Dynamite is a, that's the target date. Now, let's say Chris Jericho doesn't come back that day. Right? Let's say if he doesn't come back. Then he's not coming back, period. Hands down. But again, if he comes back, and what's going to happen if he comes back with that learning tree gimmick in AEW. You know what's going to happen. You know all the bullshit that's going to take place. You know that. The fans are going to, once again, rebel and everything else. Like I said, when it comes down to this company, that's just, I don't know, man. But Dave Meltzer, Dave, come on, Meltz. What the fuck we doing? But the fan hypocrisy would be the funniest shit, period. And it would be karma. It would be karma. It would legit be karma. The sickos are fucked either way. Not me, because if he comes back, then they're going to try to find every fucking thing they said about Chris Jericho. Everything that they said, right? And try to delete and say, oh, we were always a fan of Jericho. We always thought Jericho was the best. And blah, 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 blah. But again, motherfucker, this still does not give you the motherfucking reason, on why I'm watching, the Joy Payton. It still doesn't give you, let me mute this. It still does not give you the reason why it's the Tony Khan freezing his contract. And here's another thing too that I heard from Meltzer, and now talking more. He said, "Oh, well, I thought that Chris Jericho was not going to leave AEW when he first came, right? I never thought that he would just stay there in AEW, and finish his career off. But I don't think I don't see him." And that's another thing too. Why the fuck you confusing the Hall of Fame with AEW? They have nothing to do with each other. They have, this is a completely different thing. They have nothing to do with each other. Now, I don't fucking know. This dude Meltzer is he's dumb as fuck. He's legitimately dumb as fuck. But again, I don't buy any fucking thing that Meltzer says. We're going to find out tomorrow on SmackDown. Right? I think it'll give you a clear indication on what's going on. And again, just like I said yesterday, we don't know if this is Jericho throwing out these sources. Because again, how the fuck does Dave Meltzer know? How the fuck does Fightful know what's going on? How the fuck do these people actually know what the fuck is going on? Nobody does. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Anyway, guys, I'm about to be out. You know what I mean? I will be coming with another video tonight. So I'm going to holler at y'all. Peace.